You know, people then, you know, go to a place to compete and then, you know, end up spreading an epidemic all around the world. Well, if you look at the context of this Brazil, for instance, yes, we agree that in the past, Olympic has been postponed. People had come out and said that let's postpone this Olympic or move to another venue. They were not asking for cancellation. They said let's postpone or move to another venue. And if you look at Olympics, I think about 3 or 4 Olympics has been postponed before, 1916, 1940 or 1944 or thereabout. Not only that, recently we saw what happened during the Ebola. They have to move the sport from one place to another. And we saw that during the outbreak of SARS, they have to actually move the World Women Football from China to USA. So we've seen that. There is the international concern angle that we're worried about. And if you look at Brazil as it is now, Brazil is suffering a lot of things. There's a political turmoil in Brazil. Dilma Rousseff is stepped down and his deputy is acting in his stead. And then again, the accruals from oil has gone down, and they also have their own economic challenges we are also having here. And also, we see that the public health institution in Brazil is getting weaker, you know, maybe because of fun and some of this political turmoil. Now, the question is this: do you now take people to that kind of environment, and then, you know, if you are probably staying in so-called better organized countries, you might not have problem and say that, okay, but by the time you are coming back, we are prepared to make sure that you don't transmit the virus. But if you look at some countries, especially in Africa and Southeast Asia, where the health system is also very weak, do you now take people to that place and then they bring the disease back to their country and further, you know, create an endemicity of Zika virus in their country? That is a concern. It's valid concern. But again, as valid as that concern is, we must be able to trade off between the risk assessment. We have to do a risk assessment, and then what can we do and ensure that the joy of this game is not truncated. And that's where we are. You know, because right now, whether we debate the validity of going to Brazil or not, people have gone to Brazil. Rio is starting, and the next thing is that what should we do in this situation to ensure that, you know, we don't you know, import Zika virus and make it more challenging to deal with, especially given the fact that we are not understanding fully the extent of the virus, the manifestation, the mode of transmission. We used to think it's going to be mosquito alone. We found out that it can be transmitted through blood. We found out it can be sexually transmitted. We also found out that it can go from mother to the unborn child. So what other things are we still missing here? So we need that data to understand exactly the dynamic of that Zika virus. And while we're trying to gather the data, we don't want to cause an explosion in that kind of disease. That is the concern.
Indeed. Mr. Lanipekun, do you have any concerns? Yes, the NOC has given the Nigerian contingent the World Health Organization you know, guidelines, how to protect themselves and all of that. But, you know, against the backdrop of our seeming laxity when it comes to very serious issues, whether we're talking about health and all of that, are you concerned that the Nigerian contingent may not be equipped enough, you know, to protect themselves? Equipping being both in terms of maybe things like condoms, since we know that it's sexually transmitted, and you know, especially their awareness, exactly, you know, to ensure that these, you know, heroes that we're expecting them to be will not turn out to be the villains, you know, when they come back.
And let me recall what happened in 1980 when the Soviet Union hosted the Olympic Games. The Nigerian Olympic Committee, you know, fully aware of the risk of international travels and sports, distributed 200 packets of condom to Nigerian athletes. It made a big headline in the country. What are they going to do in Moscow? Are they going to do sports or, you know, what's the need of condom? It raised a lot of brouhaha, but then it was part of, you know, the responsibility of the NOC to protect the Nigerian athletes. So this time around, we are talking about Zika virus. My bit of worry is that why must it always be Africa, Africa, Africa? When HIV was, you know, discovered around 1981, they said it was a monkey in Africa that brought it up. We're talking about Ebola They said somebody in Senegal coming to Nigeria. Now, Zika virus, they are back to Africa, Uganda. So why Africa?
Very good question.
Well, when it comes to why Africa, I guess the doctor is in the house. We have had arguments sometimes, or comments from some critics who have said that some of this kind of diseases are product of laboratory investigation or lab tests, as the case may be, a fallout of some of those kind of experimentations.
Well, we need to be careful how we bandied accusations and rumors all around. Let's appreciate the fact that for each of those viruses or organisms that cause disease, they have their normal location that they will not cause problem. For all you care, you know, even in the monkeys, those viruses will not cause problem. Even in mosquito, they will not cause problems. But when you now move, you know, an organism from its natural environment to a different environment, the organism needs to adapt and change to really, you know, survive in that environment. The process of adaptation and change, you know, cause some mutations that can actually be, can actually have unintended consequences. So the contact of human, you know, it comes back to the issue of deforestation, the issue of climate change. The contact with human and animals, you know, actually goes beyond just me just eating the flesh. It also, you know, adds some other things in terms of exchange of germs, exchange of so many of those things that, you know, we don't know how they're going to behave when it enters at a different, in a different setting. So now let us also be mindful of the fact that it is pretty unlikely and very impossible, most likely impossible, that the scientists will sit down and engineer a virus to kill human beings. You know, we've gone beyond that. Honestly, the world has gone beyond that. I think we need to really address our mind to that and agree that those things can never happen and does not happen. Because no scientist, you know, yes, there are researches going on, there are accidents that may happen, but no scientist would deliberately go out there into the jungle, pick a virus, engineer it, and put in human being. So, but let's appreciate the fact that virus jumps from, or germ jumps from one human to another. Even in our body, if a germ that resides normally in the mouth is taken to the genital part, it can cause disease. So if it goes to the urinary tract, it can cause disease. So even in our own body, translocation of germ from their normal habitat to another part can result into sickness. So let us get that dynamics clear. But you know, again, why Africa? We have this. I argue this every time. I don't understand. Why should I be a medical doctor trained in Nigeria? The federal government spent money on me. It had courses abroad, and you, a broadcaster, trained, and so many people, engineers. And then when it comes to addressing the health challenge of Africa, we still have to go and import. We still have to go and look for engineers to come and construct our roads. There's something wrong with our thinking system and even ability to even apply the education we've gotten to solve problems. Now, in that sense, what now happened is that you see a lot of people, you know, who are really eager, who had gotten the fund to do research into different germs, you know, coming ahead to Africa, where, you know, and some of those jungles to do research. And then, what do you expect them to say? They have to really, you know, that's where the thing is fun first. So.
Okay, let me come back to you, Mr. Lanipekun. You have had experience covering a number of Olympic Games and different international events. From your experience, how much care is given to, you know, the Nigerian contingent to ensure that, you know, they are well prepared, both in terms of course, what they're going out there to do, and to actually protect themselves, especially when you have all kinds of epidemics like this? What, you know, give us a picture of how it has been in the past, whether it will give us confidence that this time around we can be sure that, you know, the appropriate authorities will do the right thing.
If we are talking about preparations, I would say very, very sadly that going to Rio this time is about the worst preparation we've ever had. We joined the Olympic movement in 1952 when we competed in the Helsinki Olympic Games, 1952. Then 56 was Melbourne, 60 was Rome, 64 was Tokyo, 68 was Mexico, 72 was Munich, 76 was Montreal, where we had the best preparation ever. But unfortunately, because of our leadership position in Africa and the third world, we led a boycott of the Montreal Olympic Games and we were unable to participate. So in trying to salvage the African, prowess by ensuring that South Africa, remained a free country, we led the Montreal Olympic Games, and the hopes of our athletes to win medals, were dashed. It was a sacrifice that Nigeria made, which led to the emancipation, to the freedom of South Africa, and we should be proud of it. But this time around, the preparation we have been making, or we made for Rio, have been very, very shambolic. And it's a pity that I haven't acquired so much experience over the years. From 1952 to 2016, we should be among the leading countries, not only in Africa, not only in the third world, but in the entire world, to say we are going to Rio to win medals and bring good to Nigeria. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be that.
We had a guest here the other day who said, the mere fact that Nigeria is participating is enough, reason to be excited.
That is commendable. He said it was commendable the fact that you qualified to fly the flag at the Olympics.
That was in the past. In the past, the world was, it is not in winning, but in participating. But that has been thrown to the, to the lagoon. You participate to win. In fact, Vincent Lombardi, one of the famous American coaches, said winning is the only thing. In sports, winning is the only thing. If you have a gold medalist, you hardly remember the person who won the silver or the bronze. It is the gold. And in sports, they say you don't win the silver. You have lost the gold.
Indeed.
Okay, now let me bring Dr. Bebawandu in here. Now, as it is, we just discussed earlier on, the state of the Nigerian health system, the decay in the Nigerian hospitals generally. Now, if we look at what we have, and our contingents are going to Brazil, for instance, and they're going to come back from somewhere that Zika virus was domiciled. What kind of concerns should the Nigerian medical or Nigerian, either the Ministry of Health or the Nigerian Health Facility, what kind of concerns should we have receiving this contingents back from Rio?
Yeah, thank you. Like I said earlier, we are there already. So the question is now how to mitigate the likely impact, of either, because not just Zika virus, there's dengue fever, there's chikungunya, there's yellow fever, all of them consistently in transmission in Brazil. And Rio is an epicenter, of that, Zika virus, Now, we look at other countries, we've seen that because the preparation is not just, when they come back, it has to be even while they are there and even before they go. We've seen South Korea, designing an insecticide embedded dresses, suits, tracksuit for their contingents in such a way that, that one will take away, send mosquito away from biting them. We've seen some other country considering antiviral condoms, to give to their athletes to say, okay, we don't know what you are going to do, but we don't want to take that risk, We've seen some people saying that, well, I'm still going to have children in future, I'm going to freeze my sperm and then come back, and then use that sperm until later. We've seen WHO deploying the maximum number of repellents, to say that, okay, we spray, we ensure that, you apply this repellent and you avoid mosquito bite. We've seen different countries, issuing warning signs, warning advice to their athletes and contingent that as far as you are in Rio, Brazil, this is the way to behave in such a way that you minimize your contact with mosquito and the risk of picking Zika. We've seen all these things, but again, even at all that, we've seen the Australian contingent who now got there and said that, wait, we can't stay in this hotel, there are leakages here and there. There's still that gap you know, in that. And then for us, what do we need to do? Honestly, is that we need to, you know, strengthen those preventive measures right over there. Right over there. We shouldn't wait until they get there. You know, I guess that there must be some medical team